What's happening, vinyl community? Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you guys are when you're watching this. It's my second video of two. Usually I don't do back-to-backs, but figured what the hell, do a collection update, and this is definitely a all-killer, no-filler update for you guys. Start out with the smallest, work my way up to the biggest, and there's actually a couple really big ones at the end of this video, and it's really hard to pick the number one, but again, there's great stuff throughout. The first one is actually a album that I had an OG of, and a buddy of mine, Dylan at Noble Records, who I've mentioned quite a few times, and he really doesn't need to be mentioned again because he does plenty of promoting on his own. He reached out to me and asked if I still had my OG of this particular album, and I said yes I did, and we arranged a partial trade, partial cash. In other words, he had a really nice reissue that came out about a year ago, and told him I'd take cash plus the reissue, and he would get the OG. So got this in about a week or so ago, and here it is. So second time on this channel, but different version. This is Rain Man. Again, it's a brand new reissue. Sounds great. I've spun it a couple times. Sounds absolutely amazing. Like I said before, this album is particularly difficult to find on this side of the pond. You generally have to reach out to sellers overseas to find this, and it's still kind of on the not super rare side, but definitely kind of difficult. But happy to have it. I'll gladly take a really nice sounding reissue over an original if that's what I got to do. So again, great album, and you can definitely find this one on YouTube to stream if you're curious about it. The next two came by way of eBay. Was through a seller that I've actually done business with before, and what they do is they put up lots of these particular albums. I guess they got a super large jazz collection slash jazz and R&B, and they put them up in lots, and generally they go all over the place. Some go for insane amounts of money, some go for nothing, hardly anything. So I have to, generally the amount of auctions that go on, I have to pick and choose. First one I actually had a US pressing of this, but it wasn't in the condition that I really was looking for. Condition on the jacket, on this particular jacket, is not that great. I'm going to see if I can clean it up a little bit more, but the wax is immaculate. This is the exciting new organ of Don Patterson with Booker Urban. Originally this was put out on Prestige, but because this is a original UK pressing, it is put out on, I just saw the I think the label's called Transatlantic, but it is actually Transatlantic, but it's actually the UK version of Prestige. But again, jacket's dirty as can be, but the wax is super clean. I mean, it's been hardly ever played. So hope if I can clean this up, I may end up keeping it. If I can't clean the jacket up, because I know you can't play the jacket, but I'm sort of a stickler for that, I may pass it on. So we'll see. But I mean, great album. Booker Urban's an amazing artist. Don Patterson's a great organist. Great album. Gotta have it. So I think this next one was actually a bit of a sleeper for everybody. So everybody was going for the Impulse and Blue Note and Prestige. This one was one I think that got slept on, and I don't know why, because it's amazing. Maybe because it's the soundtrack. This is the music of the original soundtrack from the motion picture Les Liaisons Dangereuses. Composed and conducted by Duke Jordan. It's got Duke Jordan on piano, Charlie Rouse on tenor, Sonny Cohen on trumpet, Art Taylor on drums, and Eddie Collin on bass. Great soundtrack. Again, original UK pressing. Again, welcome here. There we go. Super clean, hardly ever been played. I got this for the whopping price of $10, and it's worth every penny. It's a great soundtrack. It's a great jazz album, and a very slept on, honestly, a very much slept on album in my opinion. It can be streamed on YouTube. But I mean, with Art Taylor and Duke Jordan on piano, which it's a name that I'm somewhat familiar with, but the big name that sticks out on this particular album is Art Taylor on drums. But again, great album. Original monopress, UK monopress. Sounds amazing, and I'm happy to have it, especially for the price I paid. Getting away from jazz for a second. Excuse me. I've been trying to diversify my collection a little bit more. Pick up what rock I can, pick up, add more jazz as I can. I'm actually shocked I ran into this album when I did. It's on Discogs, and there was only 3 available. But got a smoking deal on this album. This is White Zombie Soul Crusher. This is an original first pressing from 1987. The way you can tell is generally on the inner insert, it'll say Made in Canada, and on the back of the jacket it says Made in Canada. This was put out by Silent Explosion Records. This was the first, they only put out 2,000 of these in 1987. It was reissued by Caroline Records in 1988. Now, that being said, this is definitely not the White Zombie that put out Astro Creep 2000. This album it's got hints of it, but this album is much noisier. And for somebody that's not familiar with their work outside of, say, Astro Creep and that kind of more commercial stuff, this might put your head in a spin. But it's definitely an uncommon album. I mean, you do not see these. And I got this on an amazing deal. Came out of a store in Minnesota, and basically we came to the arrangement of the owner was on vacation. He said if it didn't sell before it came back, he would take my offer. Didn't sell. Reached out to him again, took my offer, and it's here. And sucker is he listed it as VG plus, but I think it's more VG plus, bordering on excellent. I don't see anything outside of a little minor paper scuff. Again, really happy to have it, and hope to add more of the White Zombies albums to my collection. They're kind of all over the place price wise, but this is definitely the one to start with because it's the hardest to find. This next album I've actually owned once before, but my copy had a feelable scratch that caused it to tick, not skip, but tick. It was a trade-off. So this particular copy has a minor storage warp. It plays through. There's no heavy, skipping or anything like that. It plays through just fine. It just looks a little off. But this is Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers, The Witch Doctor. This is BSG 84258. Features Lee Morgan, Wayne Shorter, Bobby Timmons, Jimmy Merritt, and Art Blakey. This was actually put out as a tone poet, I believe, last year, and it's one of the later, the sessions from the early 60s, but this wasn't released until about 67, 68. Sounds absolutely amazing. It's definitely one I highly recommend picking up in either the tone poet or the original OG if you can find it. It's the original stereo press. Got a smoking deal on this, and very happy to have it back in my collection. It's one of my favorite Art Blakey albums, to be honest with you. And again, happy to have it back. Final 2. So again, this was a tough call. This next album actually came by way of eBay through the same seller I got the previous 2 albums I showed you from, but this one I never expected to get. Came down to the wire. I put in a $90 bid, not thinking I was going to get it, and I guess fortune smiles, and the guy got it. This album's extremely hard to find an OG of, and it's even harder to find an original, not just an original, but in clean shape. Most of the ones you find on Discogs, etc., they're VG or less. This one is excellent, and on top of that, it's a radio promo. This is Nina Simone, I Put a Spell on You. This is an original mono press on Philips. And on top, Deep Groove, and on top of that, it is a radio promo. And you'll have to take my word for it, but the sucker is clean as clean can be. it's an iconic album. It's one of her absolute best. It's on so many top 100 lists, whether it be female vocalists, or albums, etc. Definitely one that I highly recommend picking up. It's been reissued a bunch of times. You can find a really good reissue for about $25. To give you an idea, there's only one other radio station copy of this on Discogs, and they're asking $500, which I think is insane, but you just don't see them. And so I'm very, very happy to find this. Very, very happy to have it added to the collection. And again, I'm still shocked I got it for the price I did, which was a whopping $90, as I said. But really happy to have it, and definitely this is my forever copy. The final one actually came in today, and a little backstory on this album. My buddy Jason at the Jazz Basement actually had upgraded his copy and was shopping this one around. I had explained to him, if you give me a couple weeks and let me get the cash together, we'll make it happen. And this one has actually made the rounds because it started out in Matthews, North Carolina at Noble Records. It was picked up by another friend, Chris Tunes from the Man Cave for Jason, and Jason sold this one to me. So, and it's also going to be featured in a video, the video before this, excuse me, about restoring album covers. So without further ado, here she is again. This is Blue Note 4003, Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. This is I believe it's and Jason, if you watch this video, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is an early '60s press. Still has the ear, mono press. Still has the ear. What's interesting is it's Deep Groove on one side. It's got the Blue Note Records Inc. New York, USA on side 1, and then side 2 is 47 West 63rd Street, NYC, Deep Groove. And it's a mono press. It's got the ear. It's got all that, and it's outside of a little bit of paper scuffing. It's pretty dang clean. The jacket, however, is a little bit worse for wear, and I've actually spent the last couple hours cleaning it up. I mean, front cover looks pretty good. It's got one little hiccup on the spine, but the back cover had years and years and years of dirt and buildup and everything else. And over the last couple hours, I've been cleaning it up. And if you're curious about what it looked like before, you can check out my Instagram at TreeMcGee814. But this is what she looks like now. Outside of a little bit of age marks in a few small areas, the sucker's back to the way it was. It's an amazing album. It features legendary Art Blakey on drums, Lee Morgan on trumpet, Benny Golson on tenor sax, Bobby Timmons on piano, Jimmy Merritt on bass, and again Art Blakey on drums. And a little backstory on this particular album. It was Bobby Timmons who actually wrote the title track "Moanin'," which is one of the Blue Note's most famous tracks out of their catalog, and one of Art Blakey's most well known as well. But for me, I'm okay with this copy. I don't need an original. I don't need a first pressing unless if something happens to happen, and then maybe I'll pass this one on. But until then, this is my forever copy. So Jason, thank you for letting me have this one. It's going to have a really nice home in the collection. But that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you like what you see, please click like and subscribe. If you're curious about my collection and things of that nature, I'm on Instagram at TreeMcGee814. I post my collection updates there and various other things. But again, if you like this video, please click like and subscribe. It's been a pleasure, and we'll talk again soon. You guys take it easy.